Hey, how are you? Hope you're doing well. I wanted to do a nicer video for this, but I'm feeling pretty under the weather and really don't feel like dealing with Sony Vegas' shit right now. So you're getting kind of a one-take OBS only type deal. So, for the last week or so, I've been working on a sample pack of breakbeats from video games. And I don't mean like games that sample breakbeats. I mean like just drum lines and percussion lines in video games on like sound chips that use sequenced audio or synthesized audio that just sound cool. So the same way we would sample a break from like a soul record or something, here we're sampling breakbeats from old video games and sound chips and things like that. So there's 198 of them, which is quite a few, spanning everything from the NES to like bigger sounding arcade stuff. The general rule is that I wanted to avoid anything where it's like a direct copy of a break or like using too much of a drum loop as the foundation for it or something like that. There's like maybe one or two exceptions, but for the most part, it adheres to that kind of rule. As to how I decided what's in there and what's not, I just went through hundreds upon hundreds upon hundreds of songs and chose stuff that sounded cool. Your favorites might not be in there. Hopefully there's some new stuff that you haven't heard before. But yeah, I just want to show you like the process that, because it was a long process, way longer than I thought it was gonna be. So the first step, once you have a song, is to use a tool called multidumper. So in this case, I chose a song from Rystar, Vstar, however you want to say it. Fuck, man, I can't type right now. So what this is doing is this is taking the emulated like music dump of the song and taking all of its sound channels and dumping each one of those sound channels to an individual wave file. So once these are all rendered out, we can go through and pick out the parts that we need. Okay, so finally, once we have our stuff rendered out, we can go into the files here. Again, focusing on channel 6 probably, because that's got our percussion, or our DPCM, PCM, whatever the fuck you want to say. So that sounds like most of it, but there are different elements on this break, if you want to call it, that I think are important to it. So let's find those. Nothing in this channel. I feel like that's an important part of this beat, so we're going to silence the parts around it. Whoops. And we're going to grab that and mix it in. Okay, so we can close that. And we're going to go to the next PSG channel. These are definitely important parts. These like beeping sounds in the first two channels, so we're going to mix those together. And drop those on top of the beat. Now there's one more part that we just got to find that I think is very important. Nope. There we go, that little shout. That always sounded to me like they're trying to imitate a voice sample, like a breakbeat that has like a yeah woo in it type thing, you know? So we're going to silence out the parts that aren't that, because we just want the like shout patch thing. Okay, so now we're going to take this part and mix it in. Okay, so we're going to cut it down to just this part. So first we zoom into the beginning and we're going to find our loop, our break start or loop start. So here it seems like, let me zoom out actually, it seems like this sample probably starts with a little bit of silence here. So we'll start it there. As you can see, we're getting down to like a per sample basis, which in this case is 44 thousandths of a second. So here, I think this is the beginning of another break, of another loop rather. Yeah. So similarly, we can see that it starts, yeah, like right over here. So then we cut out the ending, and then we make sure that we have to make sure it ends on 0, because this could create a little popping sound. So we're going to fade out the last few samples, just if we can, Yeah, there we go. See how we have like the little tail now? I know it's like nothing, but you know. So now this will be a perfect loop. And that break is ready to go. So we save that. And yeah, it goes in our folder, the raw folder in this case is where you'll find that one. It's all ready to go. I've normalized them all as well, volume-wise. Now, you probably noticed, maybe you noticed anyways, that there are other folders in here as well. We have type 1 driven, type 1 extreme, and type 2, and stabs. That's just a little bonus if you like melodic kind of things. You can use like rave stabs. But anyways, so type 1 and type 2, I decided very early on in this project that it would be a lot of fun to dub these to tape. Part of the fun of breaks is that they have the sound of the recording medium they come from. So I think adding some noise and saturation back into these would be pretty handy. The first one I did was a type 2 cassette. You can see there this gorgeous Hello Kitty cassette that I've been dying to use. So they were recorded slightly above normal tape speed as to increase fidelity a little bit. It's not high speed or anything like that, so we aren't talking about double speed. And the type 1 cassette was, I forget what I used. Just some XL tape, some very boring tape you can still get new old stock of, or even just new stock. I'm not sure. Anyways, so I recorded the entire, it ended up being 30 minutes of breaks because I doubled them up for the recording. You'll see why. To both of those. So I wound up with the recordings back on the computer, and now I had to slice these or like trim these again. So here's the restart one again. This is on type 1. So I would go in, and at first I would find the loop point. The reason I put them on tape twice is so I could like make sure the loop was correct. So on this, I would have to be a lot more careful, generally speaking, because you can see we've got some like added amplitude data, both like data information is what I mean, I think. But between the higher noise floor, any other strange like tape issues, the azimuth shouldn't be an issue. I like take care of that kind of thing, but various tape stuff. So you can see our attack is like pretty different, but we're still going to go in on like a per sample basis and make sure like the end fades out, and then do the same to the beginning. So yeah, we had this like little hump here before the actual kick. So we're going to go into where the kick actually starts, trim to that. This time at 48 thousandths of a second. And yeah, then we just make sure this loops properly. And that one's ready to save. And I did that for type 2 and type 1. And somewhere along the way, I decided, hey, you know what would be great? We should like do a version of the type 1 tape where it's like driven, because type 1 saturation sounds really good. Like, you know, like that's a great sound. So I grabbed this tape from my drawer, which is an old, oh, you can do it, which is an old answering machine tape. This has been in use, I think, since like the 80s. Or it was from like the 80s to the 2000s or something like that. But anyways, so I recorded the driven one onto that. And I'm quite happy with the sound. I'll show you the restart one really quickly. There we go. Very spicy. It's got a lot of hiss, a lot of grunge, but not like super distorted or clipped. It's a very cool sound. And halfway through that, I decided, hey, we should do like one that's just completely blown out. So I got the grossest tape I could find. I found this thrifting in downtown Hamilton like a few years ago. Look at it. It's terrible, right? So yeah, I blew the mixer all the way out, just like this. This is just a clip from, I was streaming the work because I was bored out of my mind doing this. Pretty fucking loud, pretty cool sounding too. The downside was that I had just given myself like more versions of this to like cut up and all that stuff. So I had to do this process once for the original and then 4 more times for all of these. And the driven one, for that extreme one, was really tricky because the entire fucking waveform looks like this. So identifying the start of things is like... It's like, okay, so it's there, it's around there. Let's zoom in. So we have to figure out, is it here? Or is this the start of another sound? So we have to compare this over to the beginning of it here. So it looks like short, longer, about the same, longer, and then it tapers off. So we have to like compare over here. Yeah, so this is where we want to go. Surprisingly clear this time. Some of them were totally indecipherable. So again, we want to like trim to 0, so 0-ish. So the kick probably starts around there, so we can do a quick fade there. So this is like 0.000 seconds. It's very, very fast. And then we go and grab the start of the kick and trim that, and then we make sure it loops. Okay, and it's good and it's ready to be saved, right? So yeah, I had to do that that many times. So that's 198. That many. And you know what? I think it's been worth it because this is a pretty killer collection of sounds. I feel like there's a place for these in a lot of production, especially now that people are kind of like dipping into like more, I guess, video game sound tropes in their music, or just like alluding to it, not in the like chiptune sense, but in the sense that it's just kind of like a part of everything now. What with so many musicians now growing up playing this stuff. But yeah, it's a lot of cool sounds, and I hope you enjoy it. I hope you have fun with it. That's the big thing. I hope you have fun with it. Yeah, that's about it. Oh yeah, I should say, as with anything where you're sampling other music, this is like not under my usual sample license thing. I have no license to give. It's not my work, you know? So just like sampling the like Amen or the think break or the assembly line or something like that, it's technically you're not allowed to. Everybody does it. You're technically not allowed to. The chances of something happening are very, very low, but the chance does exist. I'm sure you see where I'm going with this. Anytime you sample, it's a risk, and it's up to you whether you want to take it or not, right? So yeah, the pack is available in the doobly-doo down below. And yeah, I hope you have a wonderful day. Take care. Stay safe. Love you a bunch. I can't do the hard thing still. Fucking hand tracking. Bye. What is that? What is that Muppet?